Mid-80s this weekend, mixing clouds and sunshine both days.
Hello, kids. Welcome in. It's just after high noon, 12:05 to be precise. My name is Matt Murphy. Conveniently, this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. For the next 3 hours, we hope to entertain you, delight you, inform you, educate perhaps, and engage with you. 615-737-9986. That's the telephone number. That's also the Members Nutrition Super Text line. You're invited to be a part of the show at any point during the proceedings, utilizing those. How many are there? 10 digits. 615-737-9986. I like to say we give those numbers often and as quickly as possible just to keep you on your toes. It's Wednesday, April 24, 2024. It is 4/24/2024, which is not easy to say if you try it. Bell, I've not done this. Fact check me on this. I think it's William Shakespeare's birthday. I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Give me a little fact check on that while I do this. Pleasantries, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope your libertarian lunch is going good so far. Bell Case behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. We appreciate him. He participates regularly on the radio side of things, not so much on the TV side of things. More on that in a moment. You can find us at 99.7 FM. You can find us on a variety of internet streaming platforms. If you are on an internet streaming platform, and we are not, I invite you to tell us about it so we can be there. But we are on most of them, if not all of them. And obviously, we have our own app up and running and available to you. Just download that app in an app store of your choosing, supertalk997wtn.com. Then you can also watch the proceedings for you masochists in the listening audience. Watch on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, up and running and available. Episode 559 is ongoing. Before you give us the results of your Google search, Bell, episode 559, which you will not participate on the television side of things. That's why we call him Headless Bell. But you do title it. What's the title?
Matt Murphy, gun rights advocate. Is he packing? You can never be certain.
Never know, do you?
Libertarian lunch, noon to 3, potluck.
William Shakespeare's birthday?
Is not known.
What do you mean not known?
He was born in the year 1564. The exact date of his birth is not recorded.
Then is
but
this
it
his
is
death
most
day?
often celebrated around the world on April 23rd.
Did he die today?
No, he died in January.
Not today, but
January
23rd. Dadgummit.
April 23rd. So it was yesterday.
That's an what?
It was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it would have been January, February, March. Yeah, it would have been yesterday.
That he died?
No, that he was born.
Oh. Okay. Well, then, so I was wrong on all counts. Play the song. Play the dang song.
Oh, wow.
What?
He died on his birthday in 1616. Or the day they celebrate his birthday, I guess.
Which was April 23rd.
Yes.
So I was off a day.
You were off a day, yeah.
Okay, well then.
That's still pretty close, considering the hundreds of years since he's been dead.
Well, still wrong. Wrong is wrong, Bell.
Would you stop it?
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So we've lots to discuss today, and I hope that you participate in these conversations. We have to tell you about what went down yesterday afternoon as we were leaving the airwaves and Brian Wilson was coming on air in the Tennessee General Assembly. There was a lot of performance artistry going on, signifying a lot of nothing. Many Democrats upset about a bill that is as common sense as one could make it with regard to protecting our children in Tennessee schools. We will discuss all of this today. We will talk about the performative nature of Representative Justin Jones in his demands that things change in the General Assembly, considering that he feels put upon and he feels the racism that drips down from the walls of the halls and the chambers of the Tennessee General Assembly, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And he illuminated Phil Williams, investigative reporter Phil Williams, with examples of said racism, most of which can be explained away in one simple sentence. If you stop being a jerk, people will stop treating you like a jerk, no matter what color you are. I cannot be more plain about it. Everyone in the General Assembly that I have spoken with regarding Justin Jones says the same thing. Democrats and Republicans alike. That he's a jerk. And if you act like a jerk, trust me when I tell you this, as someone who has perfected the art of being a jerk, I include Justin, I'm your boy. I could be like a mentor to you. Oh, wait, I can't call myself your boy because that's somehow racist too, according to Jones, even if I say it about myself. So I'm your guy, Justin. I can mentor you on how to parlay your jerkiness into a fairly lucrative career. I've been doing it for the last 25 years. In all seriousness, the legislature yesterday got some good things done in the General Assembly. Sadly, it devolved into what I would call performance art as Justin Jones and others decided to hold a die-in, is what they called it, on the floor of the body. Protesters threatened to interrupt the legislative proceedings multiple times. State Representative Justin Jones and his staffers at times joined protesters in performative acts of opposition to the bill. After the legislation passed with 68 votes favored, 28 against, a video surfaced of Jones and a group of protesters who held a die-in at the Capitol to express their displeasure at the legislation. Left-wing activists decided to stage this die-in as a way to protest the bill, which now heads to Governor Bill Lee's desk. I've been asked across the country to appear on numerous platforms in numerous interview formats to explain exactly what this bill does. And many who have invited me are shocked to know the levels of check-off, the amount of rules, the amount of hoops that one has to jump through in order to facilitate this going on. And in the aftermath of telling them that, they say, well, that's not that big of a deal. I was hoping that it would be a little bit more. These are Second Amendment advocates, by the way. These are gun rights advocates. These are people that want to protect our school children and make sure that they're safe and sound in their learning.
Wait, we don't just throw them a gun and tell them to start shooting?
Believe it or not, we don't just throw them a gun. Believe it or not, despite what some of the opponents of this legislation would tell you, this is not a matter of forcing teachers to arm themselves.
Well, at least now every single teacher in this state's going to have a weapon on them. That's great.
I don't think that's what this does. I think I've read a little bit about this, and I don't think I could reread it, Bell, but I don't think that's what it does. I think there's a little more of a stringent requirement involved. There's a bit more than just tossing them some heat and telling them to have at it. Believe it or not, I think they've thought of these things. So we'll delve into that deeply in the Libertarian Lunchtime Hour on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. We'll also talk about another piece of legislation passing the body yesterday that did not get nearly the attention that it deserved. It is something that's going to take a few more steps before you actually see it coming to fruition in the state of Tennessee. And I want to caution those of you who are supporters of the issue to remind yourself that this is going to take a while. It is the death penalty for child rapists. This bill, and I've got it here, I've got the number of the bill here somewhere for those who want to who like to fact check me on these things and who like to do their own homework and their own research, and I applaud you doing so. This bill passed the legislative body yesterday. It's a pretty big deal in as much as we now have a process by which we can demand the United States Supreme Court relook at the issue of whether or not it is cruel and unusual punishment to demand the death penalty for the most egregious child rapists among us. Outside of murder, the most significant, long-lasting, and impactful, negatively impactful thing that anyone could possibly imagine doing to a child, the most evil possible thing imaginable. Some might argue even more so evil than murder itself is raping a child. House Bill 1663 has passed the Tennessee General Assembly, which would allow for the death penalty for child rapists. The vote was 77 to 19. The 19 who voted against it were all Democrats. Sadly, even what I would consider to be more common sense Democrats could not see fit to vote for this. As a matter of fact, Representative Afton Ben argued that it was incompatible with the right to life. She did so on the floor of the body, not understanding the differences between an innocent life and those who have committed the most egregious attacks against society generally and people in particular. The legislation is a big step forward in arguing before the United States Supreme Court that there are certain circumstances, limited though there may be, in which the death penalty is the only just and appropriate punishment for actions committed against individuals and society at large. And that in certain cases, in the most limited of cases, that sometimes that does not involve the taking of a life. Sometimes, in fact, one could argue that it's much, much worse. So we'll talk about that today on the show as well. Columbia University continues to get a lot of press nationally and internationally amongst the other Ivy schools, and one wonders when, if and when, this will descend upon certain colleges and institutions down in the South. Vanderbilt is the most obvious example that I can give you of a college that I think would be ripe for this type of activity. Private school, a little bit of an elitist vibe going on. And I'm not casting aspersions when I say that. I'm just saying. But at Columbia University, the administration gave the individuals who were encamped on campus a deadline. And those individuals said, well, to hell with your deadline. They gave them the big old one-finger salute. And in response, Columbia University said, well, okay, then, we'll give you another deadline. It reminded me years ago, years and years ago, when I was in my 20s, long before I was married or whatnot, I dated someone with a kid. Briefly, very briefly. And my experience with this person was when they went to discipline their child, the child was named Jason. They would do this thing where they would count to 3. Like, Jason, you better stop that. Jason, I'm going to count to 3. Jason, 1. Jason, 2. 2. Jason, 3. Jason, 3. 3. 3. 3. Like, over and over again. I held my tongue and held my tongue and held my tongue. And eventually I said, 3 doesn't mean anything. And I got to look, I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me, and it sure as hell doesn't mean anything to Jason. He's waiting for you to get up. Because as soon as she got up, he stopped doing what he was doing. I said, 3 is you getting up. You did that. He didn't do that. And then I just stopped talking and moved on with my life. That's what Columbia University is doing. They're telling these students that they can't go past 3, and they repeat 3 and repeat 3 and repeat 3, and the students and those who are facilitating and those who are encouraging and those who are whipping them into a frenzy, they just wait because they know that it's a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing, speaking of Shakespeare. They know they're not going to do anything about it. And so the Columbia president and others within the administration have completely lost control of that body. Why does it matter, you might say? Isn't this a legitimate form of protest, you might say? No, it's not. Inasmuch as the Jewish students on that campus are being told that they need to be less Jewish, they're being told where they're allowed to go and where they're not allowed to go. They're having their movement monitored on a college campus in open and free spaces. Anybody else see how that's wrong? Let me give you an example. And I don't use this example lightly. Pre-World War II, long before Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany dragged the rest of the planet into a conflict with him and others, the Jews that lived in and around the areas occupied by Germany, they were allowed to live. But they had to do so under certain conditions. They had to monitor themselves in public. There were certain things that they knew that they could or could not do in public. They needed to act, less Jewish if possible. And there were certain areas that they were not allowed to go because they were Jewish. Tell me how that's different than Columbia University. Tell me how that's different than Yale. Tell me how that's different than on some of these college campuses, the Jewish students are told, for your own safety, we beg of you not to go into these particular places or these certain places because, we can't control what happens to you. 6211 writes, and 6211 we're of the same mindset because exactly where I'm going. It's exactly where I'm going. You know what? Maybe Joe Biden and his administration, maybe the administration of Columbia University could help facilitate a way by which we could identify these Jewish students so as to better get them from point A to point B in a safe and secure manner, and help identify for those who are protesting those that should or should not be in certain areas. I don't know. What do you think? What can we do? I don't know. Yellow star, maybe, right there on their chest. Does that sound good to everybody?
No, that'd make them look like a superhero. You put it up on the left side of their shirt or something.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Just to, not to vilify them, not to shame them, not to identify them for any assault or attack, but just, to make sure that they're okay, that they're safe and sound, that we know who they are and where they're going. Does that sound good to everybody? It's disgusting. So we have a lot to unpack on the show today. I hope you spend every single moment with us. Thank you for being out there on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I haven't even gotten into the Justin Jones interview conducted by Phil Williams, who seemed afraid of Justin Jones. Phil Williams did more in 10 minutes to prove my point about Phil Williams than I could have done in 10 hours. And it's not that complex of a point. He's afraid of liberals. 615-737-9986. Back after this. It can be hard to find someone you trust when it comes to large home repairs like your AC or your heater. If you have problems, you need to know who to call, and I know who that person is. It's Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy is not the biggest heating and cooling company around. He does not strive to be. He wants 100% satisfaction with the customers. That's what he strives to do. And when you become a Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling customer, you never look back. He gets it done the right way. He guarantees his service. He guarantees the products. He stands behind them, and he will fix what ails your system without trying to upsell you on some new system. Now, there will come a time when the system will run its life cycle. And when that happens, I encourage you to contact Jeff Eddy. He's a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an elite pro partner with Rheem. EfficientHVAC.net is the website. Go there and check them out. EfficientHVAC.net. Look at their maintenance calls. If you've not done maintenance yet on that AC, it's time, as it's going to get hotter this weekend and hotter still in the coming months. 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient Heating and Cooling.
You know, there are a lot of garage door companies serving Middle Tennessee. Which one can you trust? Well, it's Brian Wilson, and I trust Aaron's Garage Doors. Aaron is your local garage door company serving Middle Tennessee since 1995. Are you in the market for a new garage door? Does your existing one need to be serviced? Don't risk paying too much. Call Aaron for a free second opinion that could save you thousands. Aaron's Garage Doors. Mention WTN when you call this number, 615-456-6654. Aaron's with 2 A's. That's aaronsdoorservice.com.
Tennessee Men's Clinic is a one-stop shop for all things men's health, and I am proud to tell you about them on the regular basis. So Tennessee Men's Clinic is here for you, gentlemen. If you have worried about your energy levels, perhaps you feel like, well, Murph, I've reached that point where I can't do what I used to do. Naturally, the energy level is going to go down. I don't get the gains at the gym that I used to get, or I'm just not motivated like I used to be in the yard, or maybe it's even bedroom activity. Regardless of what it is, have you checked your numbers? Have you looked into your T levels? Have you gotten some blood work done? Utilize the incredible urologist at Tennessee Men's Clinic and allow them to help you. They are men-centric and men-focused, and they can assist you like they have thousands of other men, getting you back to the energy that you've wanted, getting you back to the lifestyle that you're accustomed to and that you deserve. It's time to contact Tennessee Men's Clinic today. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or give them a call. 2 locations to serve. One's in Midtown, and their new location open in Cool Springs in the Franklin area. 615-208-9090. 615-208-9090 for our good friends at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Thank you for being with us on this Wednesday edition. We've got MoonPie Day coming. MoonPie Day will officially begin in the 2 o'clock hour. I have a variety of moon pies available. For those that were not listening last week, for some reason, Cameron Smith, obviously, our regular visitor on these Wednesdays at 2 o'clock of the Tennessean. He writes for the Tennessean, amongst other publications. He's a good friend of the show, a good friend of the stations. He joins us on these Wednesdays. Well, we brought up moon pies, and I forget how the conversation devolved, but it did, into the variety of flavors offered by MoonPie. So I thought it would be a nice divergence away from the political action going on in Washington, D.C., away from the things going on in New York City, to include the Donald Trump trial, more on that coming up, away from some of the shenanigans in the General Assembly, and spend a moment judging some pies. And so, with that in mind, Chris Webber's all in, Mac Morey's all in, Cameron Smith is all in, Matt Murphy's all in, Bell K is all out. I encourage you to, on the super text line at 615-737-9986, give Bell the holy hell that he deserves.
I'm not eating that junk. I hate marshmallow, and I don't want to eat all that sugar.
You're not a team player.
I am a team player when it's not going to hurt me.
When have you been a team player?
Always.
You won't play on the TV.
Well, we've discussed this.
It's because of the warrants. I know.
It's because of the warrants, and
you will not bring. I have begged of you to bring Spicy to a play date with Mrs. Beasley. You refuse. You say that it's for Mrs. Beasley's safety or whatever.
I told you I would do that at some point, and we just haven't figured out the point, and you take that and you turn it into no.
Well, I got a firm no on the MoonPie deal. That's what I know. One way or the other, just you guys tune in the 2 o'clock hour, and we will give you everything you need to know about MoonPie. Yeah, that's where it started, 3425. It started with a caller who informed us. The caller was from Bell Buckle, if I'm not mistaken, who informed us about the MoonPie Festival that's coming up, and we wanted to get our get up to speed on the varieties of moon pies available. So I went out and I purchased a bunch of moon pies. I have every variety of flavor that they sell on their website. I also have some RC Cola chilling in the fridge in our commissary area, if you will. And we'll see what happens in the 2 o'clock hour. Tune in for that. In the meantime, coming back. So Justin Jones decides that he has not gotten enough attention during this legislative session. And in an effort to get a little more attention, he engages in a, quote, die-in. Justin Jones claims that this isn't how democracy is supposed to work. I think I have a solution for all of this. I think we need to celebrate Tennessee's diversity. I think we need to celebrate Tennessee's ability to think for ourselves and for others to think for themselves. I think we need to celebrate all of this, and I think we need to call it Justin Jones Day in the General Assembly. I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 12:32 on Super Talk.
From the Beacon Capital Management Weather Center.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Craft Body Scan is running a special right now that I think you need to take advantage of. As a matter of fact, I know you need to take advantage of it. So it's so important that we understand what's going on inside of our bodies long before we get symptoms of something negative happening. Because obviously time is of the essence when it comes to these things. So Craft Body Scan does just that. Craft Body Scan is available for you. Pardon me, I had to sneeze there. Available for you for $149. Excuse me. Bless you. Thank you. $149. Maybe I need to get a scan from Craft Body Scan. Maybe that sneeze is an indication that something's going wrong. Maybe I have a tumor. I don't know. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call Craft Body Scan today, and I'm going to tell them that I couldn't get through their spot without sneezing twice, and they're going to get me in for $149, and I can bring Bell along or Mac Morey or whomever I can bring along to come with me, and for $149, they'll scan the heart and lungs too. Now, I probably need to go the full body scan. You can do that as well. This heart and lung scan, in all seriousness, is a $1,300 plus value that they're offering at $149 for you and a loved one. It's why they are so emphatic about getting it done, because it's so important to understand what's going on inside of that body. So they introduce themselves to you this way. Give them a call and schedule an appointment. You don't need a referral. 615-436-1000, 436-1000, or go to Craft, spell it with a C, bodyscan.com, craftbodyscan.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenics Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenics Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
All right, folks, Matt Murphy here for the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. We are so thankful to be celebrating 10 years of helping and supporting veterans and heroes reintegrate from service to civilian life. One of my favorite relationships that I have developed since I've been in Nashville, Tennessee, is the relationship with David Corlew and the gang at the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. It is an honor to be associated with them. It's an honor to speak their name. They're a not-for-profit organization that assists other nonprofits in securing funds for help in causes that benefit veterans of the armed forces. The organization was co-founded by David Corlew and Charlie Daniels himself. They're conscious of the need to assist our nation's veterans. They understand it. After many years of service and for some, multiple deployments, the journey home can be a complex process based on the issues of being away from family, friends, health, both physical and mental, education, employment, are just a few of the many issues that face our returning veterans. For this purpose, the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project was created 10 full years ago to help veterans and heroes reintegrate from service to civilian life. Please visit the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org today. That's the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org to make a difference for the better good and to help our many, many veterans. It's the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Give us a call, 615-737-9986. If you are inspired to do so, phone line's always open and available, 615-737-9986. You can also join us on the Members Nutrition Super Text line. Members Nutrition Super Text line is up and running. So triggering liberals seems to be easier than ever. And I managed to do so with a tweet that I posted earlier today. This morning, after being up for a couple of hours and looking at some of the reaction, I'll give you the genesis of the tweet, and I'll tell you what the tweet was, or the X post. I was reviewing, looking over some storylines, considering what I would cover on today's broadcast. And obviously, I knew that I would be covering this issue involving the ability for teachers to arm themselves under certain circumstances after passing certain regulatory checks, psychological examination, 40 hours of training, and the like. Now, anyone that has read the bill understands the many, many hoops, as we described at the beginning of the show, that one would have to jump through. Already, the Metro Nashville public school system has said no. I mean, before the ink was dry, before the governor has even signed the bill, before it even gets to his desk, Metro Nashville comes out, we're not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. Well, if you read the bill, you'll recognize that it was largely never for Metro Nashville, unless you include those elementary schools that still remain without SROs because the school system sadly doesn't think that those students are important enough to give them SROs. That's my assessment of why that's happening. They claim that they don't want to scare the kids. Why would a police officer scare kids? Why would a police officer scare kids? Serious question. Why would a police officer with a gun scare kids? That's a good thing, right? So, as I analyzed some of the reaction over House Bill 1202, which passed yesterday in the House of Representatives and goes to the governor's desk, I realized how many Democrats were freaking out, generally speaking, about anything having to do with guns. And it occurred to me, they have no idea what we do on the regular, do they? And so I posted this. If liberals knew how many of us were concealed carrying around them at any moment in homes and restaurants and malls and schools and everywhere else, y'all just don't know. It reminds me of my favorite statistic. And we do many of them on the show. But I'll repeat this one on the regular. For you old schoolers that have been with us since the beginning, you've probably heard it a couple of times already. My favorite stat that is that at any moment of your life, on average, you're within 3 feet of a spider. Now, obviously, we don't know how big the spider is. Sometimes the spider is very, very small. Sometimes the spider is hidden. Sometimes the spider is under the floor. Sometimes the spider is in the ceiling. But on average, at any moment of your life, you're within 3 feet of a spider. Most of the time, they're not wanting much. Just a little bite here and there. And I've long said that if society generally knew that, or more to the point, if they could see them, I mean, we would freak out, right? If you really understood the significance of that statistic. I feel like liberals are this way with guns. That if they truly understood the manner in which I choose to defend myself and protect myself as a law-abiding citizen, utilizing the Second Amendment to do that, if they understand that I incorporate a don't ask, don't tell policy in my daily life with regard to gun-free zones, as I said yesterday, I'm a busy person. Busy. When I'm walking into a business establishment, gosh, there are a lot of signs and different placards and stickums and things on the door and posters and this and that. So many words. I can't possibly read it all. I'm not here to violate the law, and I'm not here to violate your business's policy. And if I make a mistake, I'm so sorry. But if the political left truly understood what we are doing and how we are doing it in a manner to ultimately defend ourselves and our family members and those loved ones around us, y'all would freak out. I mean, it's not a threat, it's a fact. I'm not saying this to make anyone uncomfortable. I'm just telling you to remind you that we, as law-abiding citizens, are doing what we need to do to protect ourselves, because we recognize that guns are not always bad. And the psychological impact of this law will go a lot further than the law itself in terms of destroying the liberal narrative that they are. It is incredibly important to their ultimate goal that they infuse in the minds of our young people that guns are bad, that the guns are bad, not the people, not the intent, the gun. Because if they accomplish that, it's going to be a lot easier for them to parlay that into confiscating those guns. And I believe that's the ultimate goal. I don't know how else you can analyze this and not come to that conclusion. The political left claims that they want to take away, generally speaking, semi-automatic rifles. They classify them as assault rifles or AR-15s, wrongly so in many cases, but that's the way they do it. So let's use that language. We need to get rid of assault rifles, they say, and by that they mean really any semi-auto. Semi-automatic rifles account for a minuscule amount of deaths in the United States of America due to guns on an annual basis. Minuscule. Now, every life is precious, and every death is wrong, especially when it comes at the hands of an assailant, obviously, or even a suicide. No one is diminishing that we need to do everything in our power to try to minimize those amounts of deaths while protecting the rights and liberties of law-abiding citizens in the process. But ask yourself this, let's pretend the liberals get their way and they get their quote-unquote assault weapon ban. What happens next? Do you honestly think they'll stop there? You believe they'll just throw their hands up and say, okay, that's all cool. We accept the 40,000-ish deaths that occur on an annual basis in the United States of America due to handgun violence, either suicide or homicide. We accept that. That's cool. We've gotten rid of the 500 or 600 rifle-based deaths. So we'll just leave the rest of that alone? Or do you think they'll continue their march toward illegality and ultimately confiscation? That's what you have to do, right? In order to accomplish this, you have to infect the minds of younger generations with an idea that it is somehow morally wrong to keep and bear arms. And they've been working that angle very hard in our school systems. What this bill does, while it will impact relatively few systems, and ultimately I wouldn't be surprised. I know our good friend, colleague, and afternoon host of The Drive, Brian Wilson, has been saying, 10 different school systems, maybe 20. I don't know. It's not going to be many. When the rubber meets the road on this legislation, it will impact relatively very few school systems because you have to jump through so many hoops. I'm not saying I disagree with those hoops. I'm just pointing out the reality that when you have to get a school superintendent to check off on it and a school principal to check off on it and local law enforcement to check off on it, be that sheriff's deputies or a municipal police department, when you have to have a psychological evaluation check off, the teacher themselves have to want to do it. Then they have to go through the training in order to do it. It's a lot of hoops. Meantime, these idiot leftists who are performatively dying in the General Assembly want to pretend that they're handing out guns to every school teacher that walks through the schoolhouse door, which isn't true. Of course it isn't true. But that's what they want to pretend. They want to pretend that because the legislation, if described to someone who doesn't know anything about it, comes off as reasonable. In these communities that cannot afford or cannot get SROs into the system, in these rural schools where there are maybe only 4 or 5 or 6 sheriff deputies at any given moment on patrol, even less in some cases, you simply do not have, while you might get the resources from the state to hire, you do not have the physical people to hire in order to get SROs in some of these systems. What do? This is an option. We are hardening soft targets. And schooling generally has presented itself for far too long as a soft target. Now, as I said yesterday, this would not be my legislation. I would not do this. I've talked to enough individuals that I have great respect for. And I'll tell you, I spoke with my good friend Brink Fiddler about this quite a bit. And he educated me on some of his concerns, and we discussed concerns, risk versus reward. And I came to the conclusion that I would prefer we go all the way on this. What is all the way? The legitimate concerns that I have heard about this legislation involve students learning which teachers might bear arms. And in some way, they infiltrate the barriers that have been put up to stop it, and they get their hands on those guns. So it's the secretive nature of those teachers that have chosen to arm themselves and go through the process that is of concern. Students talk, teachers learn, students learn, student has evil intent on their minds, they know where a gun is, and they get their hands on that gun. Somehow, some way. Well, let's jump over those issues because they are legitimate. And let's tell these teachers, look, this is what we want you to do. If you choose to be that SRO, which is ultimately what you're choosing to do, let's go all the way. Let's put you through training in the police academy. Whatever police academy is zoned for your school district, wherever the nearest academy might be, you go through the academy, and when you go into school, you're still a U.S. history teacher or a geography teacher or a coach, but you're also armed and you have a uniform. And we're going to pay you 25% more than you otherwise would make, or whatever the figure is. I don't care, 40% more. Pay you the SRO's salary in addition to your own, whatever it might be. But we're going to establish that you are the point person, the SRO person. Now, others will say, well, that will make them a target if there's something that breaks out. I understand that, and they understand it too. Police officers are often targets of criminal violence. It is a burden that they bear. And at that point, you're truly making the SRO a member of the LEO community, and a school teacher too. That would be my idea. We'll get to your ideas, a couple of mics and a Jim on the line, and we'll talk with you next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Libertarian Lunch with Matt Murphy on Super Talk.
QC Kinetics announces the arrival of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon with 2 decades of experience and extensive research in regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it, and at the same time I integrated clinical research that's resulted in several publications that are really directing the future of regenerative medicine. I was drawn to QC Kinetics after I reviewed their protocols, and everything they were doing is consistent with my own approach.
Today, Dr. Scheinkup leads the entire team of medical professionals at QC Kinetics, taking this exciting medical breakthrough to a whole new level.
What we are doing at QC Kinetics is transforming lives.
Get lasting joint pain relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. In Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, 615-249-4024.
Hear Beethoven's Violin Concerto with the Nashville Symphony May 2nd through the 4th. Gil Shaham's virtuosity and audience connection make him a favorite guest in Nashville. And to hear him perform Beethoven's Violin Concerto is a rare opportunity. Plus, Strauss's An Alpine Symphony uses the sheer force of the orchestra, fortified by extra winds, brass, and percussion. Tickets on sale now, only at NashvilleSymphony.org.
Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. Are you ready for 2024 storm season? Is your roof? Well, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com and we'll give you 15% off any roofing tune-ups. Those little incidentals. Call RTM Roofing 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing needs.
Hey, Nashville, it's Mark from the Safe House again. Breaking news alert. Our customers are reporting that break-ins are increasing. Yes, that's right. Break-ins are increasing in the Nashville area. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I protect my valuables and guns? Well, one of the best ways is to purchase a quality Liberty Homer gun safe from the Safe House. With the largest selection of Liberty safes in the area, we are the place to buy a Liberty safe in Tennessee. We even offer professional delivery and installation. So drop by our showroom or go to NashvilleSafehouse.com.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, you. Thank you for being there. We certainly appreciate you, each and every one of you. We'll get into some local politics with the General Assembly and our good friend, Representative Justin Jones. He's got a few things to say about all of the racists that he surrounds himself with in the General Assembly. We'll break some of that down coming up in just moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I promise you'll have fun. Mike is next up out of the ATL. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Mr. Murphy, how are you doing today?
Great. Hope you are.
Thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you.
As a 20-year veteran of the National Rifle Association Firearms Instruction Program, I think your suggestion to have them go through the mandate process to become a certified law enforcement officer is great. I would hold them to a little bit higher standard as far as accuracy has to be. Because of what may be around the offender. I mean, law enforcement has to shoot a qualification every few months or, at least twice a year to stay proficient with their firearm. I personally, I've talked with people in my local area about, there are hundreds of thousands of veterans and retired law enforcement officers who, if you could organize a board, they would probably volunteer to walk the halls of the school, even if it's just...
Hang in for a second, Mike, if you can, and I'll get back to your point in just a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7.
WWTN, Hendersonville, Nashville. From the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
And the Mark Spain Real Estate WTN Newsroom. Information-fueled, opinion-driven.
This is Nashville's news and talk leader.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Summer-like warmth returning to the mid-state. I'm WSMV4 First Alert meteorologist Stefano DiPietro. Temperatures today in the 70s this afternoon. Clouds breaking for sunshine as we go through the remainder of our day. Tonight we'll see those temperatures fall back down to the 40s, so chilly tomorrow morning. The afternoon looks warm again, back in the mid-70s, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Even warmer on Friday, back near 80, a passing shower early in the day, but nothing that will last all day. You'll just want to keep the umbrella handy. Then mid-80s this weekend. Mixing clouds and sunshine both days.
I don't care what we're talking about. Pardon me, I didn't mean to interrupt the weather forecast. I don't care what we're talking about. When you're discussing saving money and buying American, I'm all ears. I'm interested. Well, let's talk about your health. Let's talk about doing things in your life to prevent something coming along down the line that might be negatively impactful of your health. Whether it's weight management, men's health, women's health, detoxification, energy supplements, sleep and relaxation supplements. They have it at membersnutrition.com. They have it for less than the big box stores, and it's made right here in the good old USA. Friends, this checks a lot of boxes for me, and I'm so proud to tell you about membersnutrition.com. Not only am I a spokesperson, I'm also a client. I use membersnutrition.com, and they get results. Whether it's anti-aging, energy supplements, immune boosters, which is always difficult for me to say, sports nutrition, women's health, men's health, I've mentioned those. They have it at membersnutrition.com, and you're going to get these things for a lot less than you do in the big box stores because they don't have to pay for the big box stores to do this. Membersnutrition.com also guarantees that everything that they do is made right here in the good old USA, and that's important to me as well. So let's do something for ourselves with vitamins and supplements from membersnutrition.com. I encourage you to go to the website today, membersnutrition.com. That's membersnutrition.com. All right, I've got an idea, and I think it's a pretty good one. Let's get it cranked up in the 1 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 1:05 right now. Thank you for being with us. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. It is Wednesday, April 24. We're an hour away from a MoonPie hour on the big show. Everyone's excited except for Bell K. That wasn't me. That's Bell. Bell's doing that. Bell's poo-pooing.
That is, you made that sound, not me.
You're making it right now.
No, that's still your audio. That's your. You did that.
I have a moon pie for you. I'll stick it in any orifice you tell me.
You're such a giver.
You name the one, and I'll shove it up there or in there. Anyway, we've got Moon Pies coming up in about an hour or so. We are very excited about that. You might want to jump over to the Super Talk television side of things, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, in order to fully participate along those lines. We're continuing a conversation regarding guns and teachers and arming teachers. It's a huge story, not just here in the state of Tennessee, but it is now making national headlines. Sadly, many of those headlines are being mischaracterized, or at least they're not telling the full story with regard to what this legislation does and what it obviously does not do. If you listen to the hashtag NeverCNNs of the world or the MSNBCs of the world or even the Tennessean or some of the local news outlets, you would believe that they're handing out Glocks at the schoolhouse door for every teacher that walks through, which is obviously not the case. What it does do is break down these mental and psychological barriers that suggest that introducing a gun in any given situation is always a bad thing. Obviously, it's not a bad thing. And as we trust our SROs to make the right decisions, as we trust our LEOs to make the right decisions, can we not trust certain teachers that want to do it, that go through the training, that do the psychological examination, that get the check off from their local sheriff's department, from their local municipality, from their local superintendent, from their local principal? Why wouldn't we trust those teachers? You trust them with your children. Why would you not trust them to protect those same children? Sadly, some of the biggest voices against this are they themselves a beneficiary of it. Inasmuch as we know, whether the Covenant moms know or not, some of the Covenant moms are screaming that this is the wrong thing to do, when I happen to know that there was an armed individual that was allowed to carry on campus at the Covenant school. Sadly, they were on vacation the week that the Covenant school shooter descended upon that campus and destroyed 6 lives and impacted negatively hundreds, thousands of others. I only wish that someone could have engaged sooner. The police, what is the old saying? When seconds matter, the police are minutes away. The police cannot possibly be every place at every moment, which is the point. And in many of these rural communities that might be impacted by this legislation, they do not have the SROs available to them to fully staff some of the school systems that we're talking about. So that story is ongoing on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. On these airwaves, we've been discussing it all day long, and we'll continue that discussion with you on the phones coming up in mere moments. In the meantime, Jack Johnson responded this morning on Nashville's Morning News to allegations made against him, and he really responded by saying, it doesn't really merit a response. Allegations made against him by Representative Justin Jones. Justin Jones is quick to shoot off his mouth. He is not willing or able, it seems, to put himself in a position where he gets challenged on some of the things that he happens to say. I want to give you a little bit of a backstory before we play these cuts. You got the cuts ready for me? So I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. I've been hearing, we observe Justin Jones in a lot of ways. He's just a circus performer. He is performative in nature. He doesn't seem to really want to accomplish things in the legislature. And he gets way too much attention. In a lot of ways, he gets way too much attention. But it is important that we slay these imaginary dragons that he is creating. It is important that we go on record and push back against this narrative that he is trying to create. He's trying to go on record with this narrative, and if there is not a narrative pushback, then perhaps he might accomplish his dastardly goals. He wants to insist that the legislature, the General Assembly, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, that these are racist bodies that are full of racists. Now, I've been critical of reporters down at the Capitol for not challenging him on some of his more ludicrous comments. Specifically, I've been critical of Phil Williams. Many of you are aware of the back and forth that Phil and I have had on X. I know that he was on Dan's show last Friday. I know that he tried to parlay that into driving a wedge between Dan Mandis and myself over the weekend. It's not going to happen. I thought Dan did a good job. I would love to have Phil Williams on the show at any time of his choosing. The door is open, Phil. I would love to have a robust conversation with you about how you see your job. What is your role as an investigative reporter? And how do you make certain executive decisions about which stories you cover and which stories you choose not to cover? For a while now, I've pointed out that, and I have called it a credible accusation. There is a credible accusation that has been leveled against Justin Jones regarding activities that he engaged in the summer of 2020. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Janisha Harris believes she knows what happened. Sadly, no one can seem to find her because she has identified several eyewitnesses to an event that she claims happened in the summer of 2020 in which 2 individuals were sexually assaulted outside of the Capitol, and that then activist Justin Jones, according to Janisha Harris, who says that she has information regarding this, according to Janisha Harris, who says she has information regarding this, that Justin Jones decided to cover up because he did not want to spoil the activism or divert attention away from the activism. Now, I refer to these as credible allegations because I believe that we should believe female accusers when they step forward. I think it's very important that we do that. Apparently, Phil Williams does not. Apparently, Phil Williams has decided that this is not an important enough story for him to further investigate. Now, he did tell Dan Mandis on the Mandis Morning Show, Nashville's Morning News, oh, yeah, I asked him about it, and he said no comment because he had a previous relationship with this person. Well, Did you ask if this Janisha Harris would be willing to go on record? Did you talk to Janisha Harris? I mean, did you use your investigative reporter skills to get to the bottom of it? Did you talk to these other eyewitnesses who were reportedly on the scene? Have you spoken on the record with Justin Jones? Have you gotten him on camera asking him this question? Have you talked to the Vanderbilt Divinity School and asked them why they made the decision some months later to put Justin Jones on a permanent leave of absence as a result of their investigation into what happened and what went down? Have you spoken to the Tennessee Capitol Police? You're down there all the time. Have you asked them if they have archived video evidence that might shed some light on exactly what happened on the night in question? We know the night it supposedly happened. I don't have the answer to any of these questions. My questions are of a nature to challenge the veracity of comments made by Phil Williams that he is an impartial observer regarding the goings-on of the Tennessee Capitol. Phil Williams tells you that he goes where the stories lead him and that he doesn't care whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. He doesn't care whether it's a conservative or a liberal, that he's going to speak truth to power and he's going to call power to account when the circumstances merit he do so. And I've been telling you that I don't believe that's true. If you go online, if you're on X, you can find it. I believe I've reposted it. You'll find a 10-minute interview. I put air quotes around interview because it really wasn't. Between Representative Justin Jones and Phil Williams. The exchange was filmed by a local activist who's been on our radio show in the past by the name of Justin Canoe. Justin Canoe runs the Tennessee Holler. Apparently, Justin Jones was willing to talk with Phil Williams, but only if Canoe recorded the conversation. Canoe then proceeded to post the 10-minute conversation, which basically consisted of Justin Jones accusing everyone in the Capitol, including Phil Williams, of being racist. And here's the amazing logic presented by this circus clown. You're a racist. Anybody that I don't like is a racist. And anybody that speaks ill of me does so because they are racist. And if you question how much I'm throwing around the word racism, then you're a racist too because you're facilitating the racism that I'm calling out. In other words, when he calls racist, this is his logic, folks. It's amazing to me that anyone would vote for this dude. I don't care what your political stripes are because he's not doing liberals any good service. He's self-aggrandizing to the detriment of his own district. So follow the logic or the illogic of this sentence. So Justin says that there are racists. Well, how do you know? Because they said bad things about me. Well, is that racism? Hold on a second. Why don't you point out the racism that I've just talked about instead of challenging me as to why I call it racist? Because I call it racist because it is racist. You see, Justin has decided that he gets to decide what racism is and is not. And he gets to make up stories that prove his point. Made up story number one, cut one, regarding Jack Johnson. Here's
on the elevator.
Justin
Gloria
Jones.
knows I went straight to Gloria's office because I was so shocked. And State Senator Jack Johnson and me were on the elevator. He said, I just want you to know, Jones, that you're worthless and you don't belong here. That was my welcome to this legislature.
Okay, so according to Justin Jones, he got on the elevator with Jack Johnson. Anybody know Jack Johnson? You know Jack Johnson, don't you, Bill?
Yeah.
You've met Jack. I've met Jack. Jack seems like a nice enough guy. But apparently he is a closet racist, according to Justin Jones. So this is how that happened. Just imagine the music. That's elevator music, you know? Yeah, there's some music in the background, and the doors open, and there's Jack Johnson's on the elevator. Here comes Justin Jones. And I'm sure that Justin Jones said something along the lines of, "Hello, Senator. Fare thee well. I hope you're having a lovely day today." And Jack Johnson turns to him and says, "Don't you talk to me. You don't belong here. You don't belong here.
You're worthless.
You're worthless. Is that what happened, Justin? So, obviously, Jack Johnson went on the Dan Mandis show this morning and denied all and any of this happened. And obviously, it never happened. And obviously, Justin Jones knows it never happened, and he's saying it happened because it cannot be demonstrably proven that it did not happen. But that's not all. Justin did not stop merely attacking a senator for something that he claims he said on the elevator. He goes even further and attacks Phil Williams, who just stands there and takes it. Phil Williams proved more in 10 minutes about what I've been saying about him than I could have demonstrated in 10 hours by his lack of pushback. He is so fearful of Justin Jones, he won't even push back when Justin Jones suggests that he himself is racist. Cut to go.
And the thing is, Phil, is people like you, my friend, and so many people in this building have normalized white violence. When Jason Zachary threatened to fight Representative Dixie, no one said anything, not even the media. When John Ray Clemens and Scott Sapicki physically tried to fight on the floor, and I raised a point of objection, Lambert, in fact, made the joke saying, I'm a snowflake, and that was just a passionate conversation when two men had to be pulled apart from each other. And that was normalized in this building. Why is it, Phil, that we continue to normalize the violence of white men, including Lambert? And then for you, my friend, to say, oh, Representative Jones called him a racist. Instead of calling out the acts of racism, it is more offensive to you that I call someone a racist for acting in a racist manner than for them acting racist.
Y'all follow? Y'all follow that logic? If something goes negatively for this is new age logic on the part of Justin Jones, and it's illogical and it doesn't make any sense. So I see something on the floor of the House of Representatives that I don't like. You know, there's an altercation between J.R. Clements, white guy, and Scott Sapicki, white guy. And Justin Jones suggests that this is white violence predicated and bathed in racism. And someone says, wait a minute, you're calling them a racist because they got into an altercation on the floor, a verbal altercation on the floor that led to physical touching. And both of them apologized to each other, and they're all good now. And Justin Jones says, absolutely, it's racism. And when somebody says, wait a minute, who's the racist? Oh, wait. Oh, you're going to focus on the fact that I called it racism when you won't focus on the racism itself? No, I'm questioning what the hell you're talking about. And then there's the William Lambert accusation. This might be my favorite because we all know that William is prone to telling members of the House of Representatives that he will beat them up on the floor of the House. Cut 3, go.
Lambert gets up there and is always making snide comments like, you just need to sit down. Why are you even up here? I said, as a lawmaker, as a colleague, I have a right to have my dissent put in the journal. He said, no one cares what you have to say. And this is what we're told all the time. And starts physically getting in my space. I said, Lambert, you can sit down, back up. And he said, I will knock you out. This is what he told me.
He said, I will knock you out.
He said, I will knock you out.
All the while, that's about the most we got out of Phil Williams in 10 minutes. He said, I will knock you out. He said, I will knock you out. No, he didn't. Stop it. By the way, Justin Jones' big concern is that he has not had an ability to speak. He does not feel as if he's had the ability to fully represent his constituency on the floor of the House of Representatives. It's total garbage. Last session, we don't have the numbers for this session, but I have, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see them in my hot little hands. I have to put them up very, very close because Belkay printed them as small as humanly possible to demonstrate that my eyeballs don't work like they used to.
I actually used the printer to shrink the pictures.
You know you did. You know you did. I looked at it, but he prints these things out, and I was like, what, you expect me to read this? Good gracious, man. You want to know who spoke the most on the floor of the House of Representatives last session? Not this session.
I know.
You know.
Cameron Smith.
That is not true.
William Lambert.
That is not true.
Scott Sapicki.
No, that's not even close to being true.
Clearly it was a Republican because they're not going to let a Democrat have that much time.
Bell, you're 0 for how many times you've guessed.
I'm missing the mark here?
You're missing the point. The number, I'll tell you what, I will give you the top 3 speakers in terms of speaking time in the last legislative session when we return. I bet you can guess who's in the top 3. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
One station, so many ways to listen.
Today we embrace the limitless potential now before us.
Find all the links online and on your phone at 997WTN.com.
Mark at Nashville Safe House says he wants to see you. Where you been? You know, Donald Trump I don't know that Donald Trump was ever the Employee of the Year, but Joe Biden has been Employee of the Year the last 3 years running. Why? Because he's scaring the poop out of folks, and when that happens, people want to protect themselves, and when they start protecting themselves by buying guns, they want to buy a gun safe to protect the gun that protects them and their family and their valuables. And that's where Nashville Safe House comes in. Nashville Safe House has every brand you can imagine, from Browning to Fort Knox to Rhino. They got them all. I mean, any imaginable brand, they have them. They have all shapes and sizes, all fire codes and fire ratings, and they will deliver to you with one of their professional delivery crews, not a crackhead that they jump off. Some of these folks jump off the street and they come in and you don't know who they are and you don't know if they've been vetted or qualified. Well, you know that you're getting professionals when you deal with Nashville Safe House. So go by and see. They've got the Employee of the Year standing right there in the lobby. Believe it or not, I'm trying to be Employee of the Year, but I don't think I can compete with Joe Biden. Go by and see the incredible selection of safes, more safes than you've ever seen in your life, available at Nashville Safe House. NashvilleSafehouse.com. That's NashvilleSafehouse.com, or 4th Avenue South in Nashville, across from City Cemetery.
April is Autism Awareness Month, and 1 in 36 kids here in America are diagnosed with some form of autism. This is why the folks at Kellum Stem Cell Institute are so passionate about helping. They're seeing tremendous success with their proprietary stem cell therapy protocol. So, if you have a loved one or you know someone impacted by autism, reach out to the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today and see how they can help. KELLUM, KellumStemCellInstitute.com.
Hey, our good buddy John Rich, I don't know if he's listening or not, but I kind of like this. He's come up with a name for our friend Phil Williams. Phil the Shill. It's pretty good. Let's make it trend. Phil the Shill. Hashtag Phil the Shill. Supertalk 99.7 WT and Matt Murphy and you. So, real quick, not to belabor this point, Justin Jones says play cut 4 real quick, because this leads me right into these numbers Justin Jones says he's not being able to represent his folks, and he cites as an example his inability to speak on the budget. Cut 4, go.
Thursday, we voted on a $52.8 billion budget with the largest corporate tax cut in the history of our state. And I kept my hand up, kept raising it for that hour. And our leadership said, oh, you don't have to keep it up. You'll be called on. You're going to be called on. And what happened, Phil? I was not called on. The constituents of my district were not given a voice. I even was able to ask one of the Republicans who said he was on the list before me, I said, do you mind rolling a space so I could speak? And he did that, to his credit, Representative Todd Warner. But still the speaker said, no, I'm going to call on somebody else because they did not want me to speak and challenge this immoral budget.
Wait, so did he speak? Bell, you got good marks in reading comprehension and listening comprehension back in the day. So did Justin Jones speak or not?
Well, according to what he said, another one of the Republicans allowed him to take up some of his time.
Our good buddy Todd Warner.
Therefore, he got to speak on it.
Yeah, but then he said, but the speaker said no. Or did he speak or not? I mean, play it one more time. Play it one more time. Y'all tell me, did he speak or not? This is classic liberal double speak because I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Go.
Thursday, we voted on a $52.8 billion budget with the largest corporate tax cut in the history of our state. And I kept my hand up, kept raising it for that hour. And our leadership said, oh, you don't have to keep it up. You'll be called on. You're going to be called on. And what happened, Phil? I was not called on. The constituents of my district were not given a voice. I even was able to ask one of the Republicans who said he was on the list before me, I said, do you mind rolling a space so I could speak? And he did that, to his credit, Representative Todd Warner. But still the speaker said, no, I'm going to call on somebody else because they did not want me to speak and challenge this immoral budget.
What? So did he speak or not?
So Lambert skipped him? Is that what he's saying?
I mean, Sexton or Lambert, I don't know. That Warner gave him, is what he's saying. Warner gave him his spot. Hey, you can have my spot, Democrat. Come on over here. You just come on over, Justin. You seem like you need this spot.
I'm going to take a break from being racist today, and I'm going to let you have my spot.
Right. And then he said, no, you don't get that spot. You don't get to talk. So the insinuation being leveled here by Justin Jones is that the leadership in the House of Representatives, they never let Justin Jones speak. I happen to have a list of the top speakers on the floor of the House of Representatives in the 2023 session. That is last year. We do not have the numbers for this year, but I'm going to give them to you when we do. Number 1 on the list, Justin Pearson, Democrat, Memphis, with a total speaking time of 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 56 seconds. Number 2, J.R. Clemens, Democrat, with a total speaking time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 51 seconds. Number 3, Justin Jones, Democrat, with a total speaking time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 26 seconds. Number 4, Gloria Johnson, Democrat, with a total speaking time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 45 seconds.
I don't believe you.
I don't know who Hardaway is. Can you look up Hardaway for me? Hardaway. I don't know who Hardaway is, but I would be willing to bet that Hardaway is a Democrat. I'm going to bet a MoonPie and an RC Cola that Hardaway's a Democrat. This is dangerous because I don't know Hardaway from Adam's House Cat.
Matt.
Uh-oh.
Got another one right.
Democrat.
So the top 5 are all Democrats.
Yeah, and then Powell, Mitchell, McKinney. So the Democrats have the top 5 speaking times in the last session, and it's not even close.
Can you do some quickie math and tell me what that all adds up to, those top 5?
343 and 216, that's 5. That's 6, basically. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours.
12 hours between 5 Democrats, and that equals the most amount of speaking time on the floor.
Yes. But Justin Jones says that he's not being given adequate opportunity to represent his district. Therefore, they're all racists. Fight back against this garbage. It's important that we do. Fight back against when someone says that you're a racist and you know that you are not a racist. You stand up and you fight back. I know it's easy to shrug our shoulders and roll our eyes, but this guy is making money, he's making bank, and he's making progress on this issue in this regard, and he needs to be called out for the lies. And Phil Williams won't do it. even when he calls Phil Williams a racist to his face. But Matt Murphy will on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
From the Beacon Capital Management Weather Center.
Boy, friends, we've gotten to that time of year where the creepy crawlies, they are out and about. And if you've got creepy crawlies in and around your home, maybe you've just bought or perhaps you're looking for someone that can help you out, I have that person. I have that company. It's U.S. Pest Protection. U.S. Pest. They are the best when it comes to bug protection, termite protection in the South. They have a guide. I'm looking at the guide that I received from Jesse when he stopped by my house of the most common pests in the state of Tennessee. These are the threat pests. We're talking about spiders like the brown recluse, bed bugs. That's right. I know. We thought we had eradicated bed bugs, but sadly they've come back. Ticks, roaches, mosquitoes, all can be taken care of with a simple telephone call to U.S. Pest because they, friends, are the best in the business when it comes to protecting your home, protecting your family from the roaches and the bugs and the creepy crawlers. Look, you like it inside of your house, right? I mean, you enjoy the trappings inside of your home. Did you know the bugs like it too? And the bugs want a part of all of that. And they will become a part of all of that if you allow them to do so. Let's not do that. Let's go to U.S. Pest today at uspest.com and find out what they can do for you. A free inspection is available for you. All you need to do, and I'm doing it right now as I speak, you go to uspest.com and boom, there you go. 615-590-1260. 615-590-1260 or uspest.com. That's uspest.com.
Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com.
You know, there are a lot of garage door companies serving Middle Tennessee. Which one can you trust? Well, it's Brian Wilson, and I trust Aaron's Garage Doors. Aaron is your local garage door company serving Middle Tennessee since 1995. Are you in the market for a new garage door? Does your existing one need to be serviced? Don't risk paying too much. Call Aaron for a free second opinion that could save you thousands. Aaron's Garage Doors. Mention WTN when you call this number, 615-456-6654. Aaron's with 2 A's. That's aaronsdoorservice.com.
By the way, I've done a little more study on this list provided to me by the Tennessee General Assembly, the House of Representatives.
Well, that's passive racism.
I'm looking at the speaking times. And I mentioned that, because Justin Jones yesterday said that that he specifically is not getting to speak for his district, and that is racist. It's a demonstration of the racism of the other members of the body. And we have the list of speaking time. This is in the 2023 session, mind you. We do not have final times for the 2024 session. It's ongoing. I mentioned Justin Pearson, number 1, almost 4 hours, Democrat. Clemens, number 2, Democrat. Jones, number 3, Democrat. Johnson, number 4, Democrat. Number 5, Hardaway, Democrat. Number 6, Powell, Democrat. Number 7, Mitchell, Democrat. Number 8, McKenzie, Democrat. Number 9, Parkinson, Democrat. Number 10, Lamberth, the House Majority Leader, Republican. The top 9 speakers in the last General Assembly session were all Democrats, despite the fact that they have a super minority.
Well, it's racist that it wasn't all 10.
Wears me out. It also wears me out that we did not see a piece of legislation passed in the Tennessee Senate that I was hopeful that would be passed. To speak on this, we welcome back to the show Representative Gino Bulso, who joins us on the Murphy Show hotline. Hello, Gino. How are you?
Hello, Matt. Good afternoon. I'm doing well.
I'm slaying a few dragons here. The Democrats claim that they don't get appropriate, at least Justin Jones specifically claims that he does not get appropriate speaking time in the well on the floor of the House of Representatives. Representative, is it your experience that Justin Jones is not allowed to speak on the floor, or do you see him speaking often?
Well, I see him speaking very often, as I'm sure all of your listeners do. Perhaps too often, and that's true, I think, of a lot of my Democratic colleagues, because as you just indicated, when you actually look at the facts, the 9 representatives who spent the most time on the floor speaking last year were all Democrats. You don't, until you get to number 10, our majority leader, William Lamberth, you see a Republican. I think I was the second Republican on that list, but we do not actually believe that what these representatives from the Democratic caucus keep saying is true. I mean, we're not silencing them. In fact, the opposite is true. Given as much time as they take up on the floor, they're silencing the majority voices day after day.
Well, and you bring up the point that I wanted to get to, is that it feels to me like the Republicans who are in a supermajority in the House, supermajority in the Senate, you guys bend over backwards to offer the floor. You know, ultimately, that there's precious little power because the voters have made it so with the Democrats. The voters want conservative types of legislation moved forward through the General Assembly. We see it happening this session and sessions previous. But you guys seem to bend over backwards to allow them an opportunity to speak their minds in deference to the democratic process, and I applaud you for that.
Well, it's something that we take very seriously because, obviously, if you go all the way back to Alexis de Tocqueville and his work, Democracy in America, one of the things that he warned against was a tyranny of the majority, because you never want to have a majority that's imposing unfair restrictions or laws on the minority. And as you say, we bend over backwards to make sure that that does not happen in Tennessee. We give, obviously, the majority of the airtime to the Democratic caucus just to be fair. And despite that, you hear these outrageously false claims about representatives claiming that they're being silenced and that the silencing is a result of racism. It's just a complete pack of lies, Matt, as the statistics bear out.
Well, enough on that. Let's talk about some of the good that has come out of this session thus far and some pieces of legislation that you are intimately familiar with that perhaps will not be coming out of this session. Are you happy with the bill that came out regarding the quote-unquote arming of teachers? And I know that it's a lot more nuanced than that. I think calling it that is in certain ways giving a disservice to the types of hoops that are there that one must jump through in order to do this. But is this something that you are approving of, Gino?
Yes, very much so. In fact, I was a co-sponsor of that legislation along with Chairman Williams, who was the prime sponsor of it. And the need really is not so much in the urban counties of our state. It's really in the rural areas. We have funded SROs for all public schools in all 95 counties, but despite that, we have about 500 job openings for SROs, which affects principally the rural districts. And so the question becomes, do we allow former law enforcement officers or others on faculty or staff at schools to be trained up with the consent of the school principal, the local superintendent, and local law enforcement as a means to defend the children in schools in the event of an active shooter, or do we leave the school defenseless with no on-site armed response? And to me, that's a very easy question. We do not leave school children without an on-site armed response because Matt, how quickly these type of tragic events unfold. And in the absence of an on-site armed response, unfortunately, we're going to have far more casualties than if we have someone who's trained, who's on-site, who can help defend the school.
Very well, and we will have Representative Williams on the show with us in about 20 minutes or so to fully flesh out how that will go into how it will become a reality for particularly the rural schools in the state of Tennessee. One piece of legislation that I was disappointed to see did not get through the Senate. It did get voted on and through the House was your flag bill. For those who perhaps have not heard us talking about this, Gino, describe the basics of what it would have done and help me understand what happened over in the other body as you understand it.
Sure. First, the bill itself was a bill that was designed to make sure that our schools are a place where kids are educated, not indoctrinated. Because I had multiple reports from parents in my county, Williamson County, of teachers and counselors displaying the pride flag and other types of political flags in the classroom. And in our view, that's simply not appropriate. And so we put together a bill that provided that only the U.S. flag and the Tennessee flag could be displayed on our school buildings or in our school classrooms. And over the course of the legislative process, we added some flags to that list that were not controversial, things like, flags of the U.S. Armed Forces, POW, MIA flags, things of that nature. And that bill passed overwhelmingly in the House in February by a vote of 70 to 24. Yesterday, unfortunately, when it got to the Senate floor, it received 13 affirmative votes and 6 votes against it. But because you need 17 votes in the state Senate to have a constitutional majority, it did not pass. And it wasn't as though the Senate Republican caucus was voting against it, Matt. Oddly, there were 11 members of the Senate Republican caucus who were present but simply did not vote. And as a result, it failed. That's what happened.
Any indication, Gino, why there were so many present not voting on the Senate floor?
No, I have not had a time to discuss this with any of those Senate colleagues. Obviously, we're disappointed, but by no means discouraged. And I do not want your listeners to be discouraged in any respects, Matt. We have every intent of bringing this back next year, and I'm going to caucus with my Senate colleagues over the course of the summer, address whatever the concerns were that led them simply not to cast a vote either yay or nay on the bill, and make sure that we can continue the effort to make sure parents are the ones who are in charge of instilling values in their kids, not teachers and or counselors who want to use the pride flag or the transgender flag or any other flag to indoctrinate them.
So, you don't have an indication, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just trying to figure this out in real time as we talk, Gino. You don't have an indication that this was a concerted effort, right? That these individuals teamed up to ensure that it didn't pass. Just we don't know the circumstances surrounding the lack of passage.
Correct. I do not know the circumstances. The only thing that I can say for certain is that I saw the lieutenant governor's comments in the news media that he had concerns about the constitutionality of the bill, which had those been raised with me directly, I would have been happy to address them because we've got numerous Supreme Court precedents that support this bill 100%, going back to the Garcetti versus Ceballos case in 2006, which established this framework that when you're dealing with public employees in the First Amendment, you have to determine whether the speech is private speech or government speech. If it falls into the latter category, it is subject to no First Amendment protection. And that was the standard that Justice Alito used last year in the Kennedy versus Bremerton case out of the state of Washington that I'm sure you remember, Matt, about Coach Kennedy praying on his own after football games. So this type of speech where a teacher places a political flag on a desk is unquestionably, under the Supreme Court precedent, going to be considered government speech, not private speech, and it's not going to be subject to any First Amendment protection.
Well, I look forward to diving a little bit deeper into the names of those choosing not to vote. I want to ask you to list them off, Gino, because I'm not trying to pit you necessarily against senators that you will obviously need during the next session. Hopefully there was some sort of legit reason. Hopefully we can understand whatever reasoning they give you. But it's certainly disappointing because we see far too much of this going on. We need to be educating our young children. We need to have the American flag there, the flag of Tennessee, maybe some military flags, and that's it. We don't need to allow this infusion of political indoctrination or other types of character assassination or political assassination. I know your impetus behind the bill, and I support it 100%. I'm sad the Senate did not see it the same way, Gino.
I am too, especially on that ground of this alleged lack of constitutionality. Could just consider for a second, Matt, if you had a teacher that placed a crucifix on her desk or a sign that said Jesus loves you, how long would it take the LCLU to complain that violates the separation of powers and that is the establishment of a religion? It wouldn't take very long. So I think just intuitively we all know that teachers should be there to teach kids, academics. Do not get into these types of political issues or values issues that are best handled by parents at home.
Gino, one quick note on the passage of the death penalty bill against child rapists. I absolutely appreciate what the General Assembly is doing. We recognize, and I think you recognize, that this still has a little bit of a process to go through before we will see it into law in the state of Tennessee, because it will have to go back into the courts, and we will have to push this to the Supreme Court level, correct? I mean, that's the entire point of getting a piece of legislation in process like this, is to perhaps get it back into the courts and suggest that maybe a previous decision has been wrongly decided. This is something that should be left up to the states individually.
Exactly, and it was done just perfectly, and I'm happy to give kudos to our Majority Leader, William Lambert, for teeing this up in a very responsible, respectful way that's going to get that issue back before the Supreme Court so that we do have the death penalty available as an option in the most heinous crimes that are committed, especially those against our children.
Gino, always good to catch up with you. Thank you for your time, and we'll do it again very soon. Take care, Representative.
Thank you, Matt. Bye-bye.
All right, there's Gino Bulso joining us for a few good moments. We'll be joined by Representative Ryan Williams as well this afternoon to talk about the passage of the what is called the Armed Teachers Bill. Am I supposed to go to line 3 right now? I mean, I've got a break to take.
No, let's take the break and then come back to it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we want to save this.
Can he wait? Can he wait that long?
I'll check.
Is this Sean from jail? This is our Sean from jail?
Yes.
The Sean that's been emailing me so many emails? Yeah. The one that, wow.
Go ahead and go to it. Good.
All right. Well, I mean, Sean from jail. Hey, Sean, how are you?
How are you doing, Mr. Murphy?
I'm great. Are you calling me from jail?
No, sir. I'm calling you now from MTMHI.
You're calling from where?
MTMHI.
What is that?
Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institute.
Oh, okay. Well, very good. How you doing, Sean? You all right?
Well, confused, but I think I'm doing okay for the circumstances that I'm surrounded by.
Uh-huh. Are they treating you well over there?
It's not satisfactory, but it's okay.
Okay. Did they move you from an incarceration situation over to a mental health facility to try to get you some help?
I would say no, sir. I really think this is politically motivated, and also an important aspect of campaigning for 2024. Mental health is a real situation. It's real.
How, Sean? How long were you incarcerated? You sent me a number of messages from jail. I didn't answer the first. I mean, I didn't read the first few of them because I didn't know what it was about. But then eventually, I opened them up and. Very heartfelt messages. Obviously, you're taking the time to send them. How long were you incarcerated over there?
Well, first, let me say, Mr. Murphy, I hated about your dog, John Henry.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
I really do hate that.
Yeah,
I'm a
I appreciate
horseman.
that.
I'm a horseman myself. I have horses, but with horses you have dogs, and
Well,
it's
that's
all
right.
part of the farm life.
That's right. That said, I mean, what's your prognosis, Sean? Are you hopeful that you'll be released from the mental health institute soon?
Well, they're shuffling me around inside MTMHI from different units to different units, and I'm at a unit now that seems to be catering to my needs and my to my wants.
Okay.
I have no expectations in here. When you're at MTMHI, you have no expectations. If you have expectations, they're shattered by your social worker or your doctor here.
Will Sean?
That's my observation.
While you are at the mental health institute, will you have the ability to call us a little more regularly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This unit I'm on now, the phone privileges are more catering to the patient.
Okay.
Well, I can call you on a daily basis, Mr. Murphy.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that. I tell you what, I'm out of time right now. You know how it goes, Sean. I've got to get to some commercials, but what I want you to call me back. I want to explore your situation a little further. I want you to know, Sean, I'm going to tell you something, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I don't know you from Adam's house cat. I don't know your history. I don't know what you've done. I don't know what you've not done. But I want you to know that there's somebody out there that loves you. I want you to know that, okay?
You're appreciated too, sir.
God bless you. Take care, okay?
All right, bye.
All right, take care. There's Sean, incarcerated Sean from the Mental Health Institute. And I mean that sincerely. I love him. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know what's going on, but everyone deserves to hear that at some point in their lives. It's 1:55 on Super Talk.
We're the voices in your head.
I'm not going nuts.
And on your phone. Listen to us anytime, anywhere.
Anywhere I need.
With the WTN or iHeartRadio.
I downloaded the app.
At 997WTN.com.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and let's talk for a moment about 2024 and your pain. Are you in pain in 2024? Is it something that is concerning you? Have you decided that you're tired of taking the pills on a regular basis? Or perhaps you've even gone as far as to get shots to try to alleviate some of the pain. Well, if that's the case, I want to introduce you to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. They are located in Franklin, and within the sound of my voice, they are ready, willing, and able to help you with whatever pain that you might have on your body. Neck pain, back pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain can all be alleviated through the Dr. Gill Center. The Dr. Gill Center's been helping people for over 3 decades, and they've always been on the cutting edge of technology. They brought spinal decompression to the area, to Middle Tennessee. That's such a good thing. They use industry standard equipment like the Class 5 laser system, the red light therapy system, plus that spinal decompression, all designed to pinpoint pain in the body and to reduce that pain without the need for pills and without the consideration for surgery. Call today at 615-882-4838, 882-4838, the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin.
Sponsored by Allstate.
Attention small business owners earning at least $150,000 per year and having 1 through 10 employees. Nationally known Forbes speaker Kurt Whipple is coming to Del Frisco's restaurant in Brentwood to teach how you can get major tax deductions and build a stronger financial future for yourself without an expensive 401k plan. Here's just some of what you'll learn. How to establish unlimited tax-free income without a Roth IRA. How to escape larger taxes that most likely will be coming soon. How you can save virtually unlimited amounts of money and write off the entire amount. How you can invest unlimited savings, regardless of how many employees you may have. This is a don't miss luncheon event with Forbes speaker Kurt Whipple, Thursday, May 2nd at 12 noon. To register, call 1-877-559-3556. That's 1-877-559-3556. Call now. Seats are limited to the first 15 registrants. Call 1-877-559-3556 now.
WWTN Hendersonville, Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A Cumulus station.
2:02, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 75 degrees, a sunny day here on Music Row. Got a weather forecast headed your way in the next 2 minutes. The Pentagon is confirming the United States is shipping long-range missiles to Ukraine at the direction of President Biden. Karen Travers gives us details.
The Biden administration is confirming the U.S. has provided Ukraine with long-range missiles known as ATACMS. Major Charlie Dietz tells ABC the president quietly directed his national security team to send ATACMS to Ukraine for use inside Ukrainian sovereign territory. The missiles started moving as part of the security package the administration announced on March 12th and arrived in Ukraine this month. The Biden administration has been hesitant to provide these kind of longer-range missiles due to concerns it might impact the supply of the missiles the Pentagon has on hand.
Right now here in Tennessee, Governor Lee has signed bills into law. One is the bill named after Jillian Ludwig, the Belmont University freshman who was killed by a stray bullet police say was fired by a man who had been set free from a previous violent incident because he was deemed incompetent to stand trial. Jillian's Law, as it's titled, requires any criminal defendant deemed incompetent to stand trial be remanded to a treatment facility until they're competent rather than be set free.
And the bill that would ban TikTok has been signed into law. The app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, now has less than a year to sell or be shut down in the U.S. TikTok says 170 million Americans are on the app. That's more than half the U.S. population. Perry Russa is in our nation's capital.
TikTok is now on the clock, given 9 months to a year to be sold by its Chinese parent company ByteDance or be banned in the U.S. Shortly after passing the Senate today, President Biden signed the bill into law. The new law is expected to face legal challenges from TikTok. A spokesman for the app says this is the beginning, not the end of this long process.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
This hour brought to you by Eurofix. Get repairs on European vehicles without dealer pricing.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Craft Body Scan. Craft Body Scan is your one-stop shop for all things health and wellness within your body. Even if you have not noticed symptoms, you're thinking, well, Murphy, I'm not in the market for a CT scan from Craft Body Scan because I don't feel bad. You know, sad to say, but oftentimes when symptoms develop in your heart or in your lungs, it might be later than you want it to be. I mean, you want to catch these things that are going on inside of your body as early as possible. And with that in mind, Craft Body Scan developed their program in 2017, and they brought that to the city of Nashville, to the state of Tennessee last year. And I'm so proud to be affiliated with them because they want to do medicine the way that I've always said. We need to be more preventative in our approach. That's going to get us better outcomes on the other end. And with that in mind, $149 for you and a spouse or you and a significant other. And you can have a heart and lung scan from Craft Body Scan today, tomorrow, next week, a time of your choosing. You don't need to go to your doctor and get referred to them. All you need to do is make the call that so many others have made. Now, this is an almost $1,300 or over $1,300 value offered to you for $149 for one couple. It's about a 5 to 8 minute scan. They'll go over the results and findings. They'll give you copies of those. If they see anything, they'll tell you what it is and they'll catch it early. And if they don't, you're in the clear and you've got that peace of mind. Call them today at 615-436-1000, 436-1000 or Craft Body Scan. Spell it with a C, craftbodyscan.com. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Man, it is going to be difficult to keep this show on the rails for the next 20 minutes or so, considering what I know is coming in the latter portion of this hour. I'm very, 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 very excited. I'm excited to say hello to you. I appreciate all of you. Super Talk 99.7 WTN listeners all, thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. Whatever time you give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. We've got about another hour to go before we hand off to the drive-in Brian Wilson, a gentleman that I saw this morning a little bit earlier on. So, you know what, Belle? You just go on. Why What is Bell doing? Now, that's Bell K on the camera, everybody. It's not on. It's not on? It's not on. All right. Yeah. So Bell was positioning our cameras. We can be found on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. And we appreciate you spending some time over there. Join us on the F&M Bank chat line, et cetera, et cetera. You can also find us on the radio dial, et cetera, et cetera. So there's Cameron Smith in his normal position on these Wednesdays. Hey, Cameron, you're here. Yeah. Huh.
That's
interesting.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll figure out this radio thing eventually, I promise you. We'll get into what we're doing later on with the Moon Pies and the RC Colas and the other beverages that you brought, which I want to try that Moxie. That looks good. After we speak with Representative Ryan Williams, let's get back to serious business. And you might have a question or two for Ryan.
Sure.
As he was the sponsor of what is being called the Armed Teachers Bill. Not just making state headlines, making national headlines. This bill has passed the legislature. It is expected to be signed by the governor. And the sponsor of the legislation in the House of Representatives is Ryan Williams, and he joins us on the Matt Murphy Show. Representative, good afternoon. Thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late.
It's all good. If you came over from the General Assembly, we've got Moon Pies in the studio and RC Cola. So I'm just throwing it out there, Ryan. Throwing it out there.
Well, I appreciate it. Unfortunately, my diet during the Tennessee General Assembly's closing hours is terrible. So.
I can understand that.
Well, we don't want you to have withdrawals, so we could help. Just saying.
Yes. Nothing like a good sugar high to get you through 37 minutes of something.
Well, true that. So congratulations are in order. I think this is a good piece of legislation. I think it's been well thought out. Sadly, I don't believe it's being well explained, especially on national media outlets. Just for the record, Representative, explain what this bill does, what hoops one has to jump through in order to become an armed teacher or staff member, and what it doesn't do. Help these national media outlets out.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. The biggest challenge really has always been the communication. But what the bill does is an expansion of already current statute, which I think most people don't realize. In 2016, we allowed teachers and faculty to carry with a lower bar on campuses in distressed counties, and we also allowed them to do it in private schools across the state. In 2016, we also passed campus carry with just an enhanced permit on higher education campuses. What we found, particularly in higher education campuses through the TBI crime report, that overall crime was reduced in our college campuses by more than 20% in almost every category, which was amazing. And so this bill started based upon my knowledge and reading through the Parkland shooting committee report that was released a couple of years after that unfortunate event in Florida. And so in it, they selected the idea of allowing trained teacher or faculty or administrator or maintenance guy, cafeteria worker could go through training in order to get the opportunity to carry in those instances where they actually called them peace officers. And so what this bill does is expands that current statute, makes it statewide, and raises the bar, the standard in which they could do it, and makes it permissible from the local LEA, the principal, director of schools, and the law enforcement agency that provides the memo of understanding for the security of our schools. But even before those decisions are made, someone would have to, at their own expense, pay for a mental health evaluation, their fingerprints, 40 hours of law enforcement training, with a portion of that having to be hands-on experience so that they can show proficiency in their ability to do that. And most law enforcement agents don't think that people could pass these high bars, but in the instance that they do, then they would present the idea to the principal and the director of schools as to whether or not to do it. To give you an idea, the local county sheriff had 5 teachers that wanted to come and become reserve deputies. Of the 5 teachers that wanted to be reserve deputies, only one of the 5 were able to pass the mental health background check, and I would argue that maybe 1 in 5 of members of the Tennessee General Assembly could. But the facts are, it takes a really high bar to be able to do this, and the whole purpose of the bill really is to take away the tag of our school systems that says they're gun-free zones and create an actual deterrent so that people will think twice about entering a school, particularly since if there's only one SRO or no SRO, then sometimes those are the first persons that are engaged by an active shooter. And so it's my hope that this bill, if the governor chooses to sign it, as I have not talked to him at all about the bill, that it is going to provide that deterrent. And my encouragement to school systems across the state and law enforcement agencies is to just not say whether they will or won't do it by coming out like Metro Nashville did today and said they are not going to do it. What they do is they remove the deterrent from all their schools.
Yeah, they don't have to publicly say anything.
No, they don't. And to me, even if they weren't going to do it, it seems like it makes perfect sense not to say anything, or at least say that we're considering it. Williamson County did that. I had a Williamson County parent send me the notification that they did, and they did a fantastic job of clarifying what the bill does, what the purposes are, and they just left it open-ended and said, we're going to wait and see if the governor signs the bill, and then we'll reevaluate and look at what we're currently doing, even though we have an SRO in every one of our schools.
Well, and I'm just checking these boxes off along with you, Representative Williams. Ryan Williams with us. He's the sponsor of the legislation in question. So the General Assembly saw some pushback from local school systems when discussing SROs, and so the General Assembly last year fully funded, or year before fully funded, the idea of SROs in every school system across the state of Tennessee. And so some of those systems that perhaps don't have the manpower, especially in the rural communities, now have an ability to utilize a teacher, perhaps an ex-law enforcement person or someone ex-military, whatever their training level might be, whatever their psychological disposition might be, to go through the proper training to kind of fill that void. It makes sense that you're kind of closing these loopholes to make sure that we do everything possible to harden these targets and to protect these children.
Exactly. You know, you referenced what we did. We funded an SRO in every school, over 1,600 schools in the state. And as of the beginning of session this year, there were 500 of those positions that were unfilled. So we don't have a finance problem. We just have an availability of local law enforcement to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's manpower.
Right.
Yeah, we do. And so this gives people an ability to do that. And even if they chose not to do it, if they were mum's the word about it, then there would be a perception that there might be someone there, even until they were able to actually get an SRO, which is, as you mentioned, funded by the state.
A lot of emotion surrounding this legislation, and a lot of people at the State House expressing that emotion, some of them covenant moms, etc. When you have an ability, or have you had an ability to sit down with them and kind of fully explain the legislation, and when you do you get a different reaction?
Yes, in almost every case. I think, there are some who, whether you're a member or a member of the public or a member of the General Assembly, we have to be able to go into things with an open mind. I sat down with many covenant parents, communicated with some that I go all the way back to my childhood. Some were in support of the bill, quite frankly, but didn't feel comfortable saying so. I had some who had some ways in which they wanted to improve the bill, and then if I could do that, I would do that. And so the first time I ran this 3 years ago, it was a dramatically different bill than it is now, and because I did take input from school systems and law enforcement agents, the Department of Safety and others, the fact of the matter is that sometimes I do meet with people who simply don't want it to happen, and those are the most difficult ones in order to do that, because I really believe this is going to keep our schools safer and create a deterrent that will keep these people from doing this in our schools all across the state.
I think some of our friends that we would say are from the left, I think their fear, whether they even know it or not, is the psychological implications of all of this, because I think they have worked very hard, anti-gun folks have worked very hard to insist that the introduction of a gun in any situation is always a bad thing. And I think your bill and your attitude about it goes very much to the point that that is not the case. That is not true. It's always about the intent of the individual that is armed in any given situation. And I appreciate you kind of cracking that suggestion and that narrative that's been presented for so long on the left, that we should have these quote-unquote gun-free zones, because we've seen it time and time and time again, as you well know, Representative. Gun-free zones do not work. Criminals don't care.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. One of the first votes I ever made as a city councilman more than a decade ago was guns in parks. It was a really big deal among cities, and I stood alone and voted back then because I felt like that if we voted to prohibit guns in parks, then all you would have to do is create a safe space for people to come in and do harm to others. And so I really feel like this is going to be a good tool as it relates to making our schools safe across the state. And hopefully as time will move on, that people will realize that it is. The challenge about any deterrent is a deterrent. You don't know what could have happened, but you know that if you do create a deterrent, that there's a higher probability that this tragedy won't strike our schools again.
Does it surprise you the national attention this legislation is getting?
It does surprise me a little bit. I had people from across the pond, if you will, reach out to. It's been a real challenging thing. I did watch a little bit of it. I haven't talked to anyone other than you and one other news agency about this bill. I just really feel like that those that want to understand and know the bill will pick it up, read it, call and talk to me about it, have a good discussion about it. But you can, the few times that I did see some reporting in it, the obvious bias was clear in the first 10 words they would say before they'd even discuss the bill.
Well, I'm glad you're willing to come on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and clearly define what we're talking about, what we're not talking about. And we're big supporters, Ryan. Thank you for your efforts in this regard. And hopefully you'll have a good conclusion to the session. And we'll talk again very soon, my friend.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Take care. There's Representative Ryan Williams. Seems like a good guy. I've never met him in person, but he's had this issue on his radar screen. This predates, as you heard him in his answer, predates Covenant. This was not a response to Covenant. This was an effort that he was trying to get past long ago. And I reiterate, and I'm not trying to do so to hurt anybody's feelings or to open wounds, but those that are most vocal, that are calling themselves Covenant moms, I don't believe have all of the information they need, and I don't believe they speak for all of the Covenant parents. And it just bears repeating, because as they are arguing that we should never have guns in schools, we know that someone within the administration of Covenant allowed a staff member to be armed on campus during the time that the Covenant shooting happened. Sadly, they weren't there.
We act like this is somehow crazy. The amount of concealed carry permits and concealed carry people that are in my orbit is extremely high.
Did you see my tweet? I freaked liberals out, right? I'll just share it with you because they are beside themselves at me pointing out what I consider to be the obvious. And it is, hold on a second. And it's about the idea of guns around us. There's an old stat that I love bringing up that I brought up at the beginning of the show, that at any given moment of your life, you're around, on average, 3 feet away from a spider. That's just fair. The law of averages. And I took that in my head, saw the response to this bill getting passed, and I said, if liberals knew how many of us were concealed carrying around them at any given moment, in homes, in restaurants, in malls, in schools, and everywhere else, yeah, and I said, y'all just don't even know. And I put a little meme of these mushrooms just,
Well, the churches, and I'm not going to name specific churches because I don't want people... I want people to think that they might get shot if they came in with a gun to any church. But I'm specifically aware of numerous churches in Williamson County that have trained members with law enforcement to basically respond to an active shooter situation, and they are concealed carried in church.
And leftists act like, and I got accused of threatening leftists by posting that. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just stating a fact.
It is a fact.
The odds are, if I see you in public, you should bet on me being armed.
Yes.
Rather than not being armed. I'm not saying I'm armed every time, and I'm not saying that there aren't certain circumstances where I disarm myself because I have to. But the odds are I am armed. What's wrong with that?
Well, if we have an extended family reunion, it's like an armory, right? I mean, I want to be real clear about that. That, this is not, in the South, gun ownership is common. The amount of guns that are around here that are used properly, that people use for hunting and personal defense, hopefully they never have to fire them for that purpose, but they are everywhere. And we never hear about, hey, the folks that are concealed carrying that are never a problem and that are always doing the right thing. There's no headlines, no nothing. and yet in this instance, it's like, oh my goodness, they're losing it.
The one of my favorite storylines that have happened over the last 10 years was that they found a Winchester rifle out in like New Mexico or Arizona somewhere, and the climate is such that the rifle withstood 130 years of leaning against an old cactus, right? And they found it, and they were very excited, and they sent it off to Winchester, and it was still, they could create it where it would be functional,
right?
They could oil it up and do all those things. And I thought 136 years and never shot a single person.
Right?
Isn't that amazing?
Well, that's what people just. I married somebody from the north who wasn't around firearms her whole life, and the idea of, well, you have guns and they're not used to kill people.
Right.
Well, she was like, but
what?
I thought that's what they were for, And then we used a .22 rifle and shot jumbo marshmallows. She was like, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, dang right it is. Speaking of marshmallow, that's a great transition. It's almost like you've done this before. Cameron Smith, Matt Murphy, we're going to get Mac Morey, Chris Webber, and Nobel K in on this. It's the great MoonPie conversation. Politics be damned. We're talking moon pies and RC Colas next on The Murphy Show. Pat Davis is your health plan man and yourhealthplanman.com. First of all, he and his team have offered health plans for individual couples and families for years. They are truly your healthcare concierge. They don't abide by the rules of one insurance company or another insurance company. They shop all of them, and they know what they're doing. Now, Pat also knows that if you own a business with 3 or more employees, you need to call or text Pat right now at 855-4PLAN-MAN. That's 855-475-2662. He's moving all of his small groups to a particular plan. He's the managing general agent for a small group plan that is so beneficial for you. They have often 40 to 70% premium savings. Find out more by going to yourhealthplanman.com and search group plans. That's yourhealthplanman.com, group plans. And if you're an individual, you need to make this call. Let Pat talk to you. My wife received health care coverage from Pat Davis and yourhealthplanman.com. You can too. Yourhealthplanman.com or 855-475-2662 for Pat Davis and his team.
Next time you're walking around your house, look out for these things. Doors and windows that are sticking, sagging floors, maybe cracks in your brick, or a bowing basement wall. These are all signs of possible foundation issues. And when it comes to foundation repair, nobody does it better than United Structural Systems. USS has served Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. Their integrity and reputation is impeccable, including an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. United Structural Systems is not a franchise. That means they customize a solution for each homeowner depending on your specific needs. United Structural Systems will give you a detailed free estimate before you make a decision. And as always, you don't pay a dime until the work is done and you're happy. With over 25,000 satisfied customers, you can feel good about calling United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855, or visit them online at ussTN.com. That's United Structural Systems.
A hostage video released by Hamas and a big economic announcement here in Nashville. All coming up, 2:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Also coming up, the big MoonPie, what are we calling it? Challenge? The MoonPie eating spectacle, the MoonPie shenanigans. I don't know. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's on the way right after the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So the impetus behind this was we were told by a caller that there was a MoonPie festival in Tennessee. I think it was in Bell Buckle, if I'm not mistaken. What are you doing? Stop it. What are you doing over there? Why are you rummaging? Yeah, but you're going to mix up the mint and the regular chocolate. What are you doing?
They're all perfect. I only do the best things.
Harumph. Harumph to you. Harumph to what you're doing right now. What is this? Which one is this?
Caramel.
Are you sure?
It looks caramel.
Have you gotten out of the...
I didn't touch the banana.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. So anyway, McMurray is going to participate. Chris Webber has agreed to participate. And right now, Cameron Smith is divvying up the moon pies. There are 8 different moon pie flavors that we have to go through. And I think we've decided what we're going to do. By the way, the rest of the show, we're suspending there's a lot of things going on. There's protests across U.S. college campuses across the country because apparently we're involved in the Israeli-Hamas war, despite me not knowing. I guess we funded.
This is wholesome radio for the next little bit.
Yeah, we're going to put all of that aside because we got RC Cola, we got moon pies, and we've got willing participants of the Big Moon Pie Challenge. We're going to figure out which moon pie flavor is the favorite of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And Bell K is just, what are you doing over there?
I'm listening to you.
He's sad.
I mean, look at him.
What?
Look at him. This is the face of someone that wants to participate, but has dug his heels in the sand for some reason.
I don't.
That's blueberry, baby, right there.
They leave me out all the time. I just feel not included.
I can't. I mean, and you try to get him, and it's like just sample, just take one bite of one chocolate moon pie, and he says no.
Come on.
And
I
by
ate
the
potted meat.
And by the way, Matt Morey ate potted meat.
Come on.
Matt Morey left his duties in the newsroom and drove to Whataburger for this radio show.
Mac doesn't know what's coming. He's got a marriage coming up.
Yeah.
You know, maybe kids on the way. I mean,
knows?
You know,
Before
he's
the
going to be
marriage.
40 and tired before he knows it.
This is enough of it. This right here will be all the tease that anyone needs to stay tuned to this radio dial. Mac Morey, have you ever had a moon pie?
No, sir.
No, sir. Well, that's going to change next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.231, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Now 75 degrees, sunny in Nashville. Gorgeous day here in the city. Weather forecast going on the way. Taking a quick look at traffic right now. I-840 eastbound. This is before Columbia Pike. Highway 31, exit 28. There's some bridge work there. We got the right lane blocked. So there's a huge backup there. That's out by Thompson Station. There's railroad equipment that struck the bridge. That's by that overpass there. And so they're doing some work there on the bridge. We've got an accident there, Hillsborough Road at Crestmore Road here in Green Hills, Davidson County. Other than that, looking pretty breezy as far as traffic's concerned here for mid-afternoon. Weather forecast on the way. Hamas militants have released a video of one of the more than 100 hostages who are still being held captive in Gaza. American Hirsch Goldberg Poland was abducted at the music festival in southern Israel on October 7th. His parents have been advocating for his release ever since, and were at the White House a few weeks ago. Tom Stufy-Burridge says the video appears to show Hirsch criticizing the Israeli government and looks to be a Hamas propaganda video.
At the moment, ABC News, we're deciding not to show the video. We're just showing captions of it. We're taking our time to think through the ethics of this. It's not a simple decision. People should realise that in these kind of journalistic moments. But look, this is a very, very significant video, and it comes at a time where really the negotiation process to get the hostages out, to get a ceasefire, is really, really at a low ebb.
The Israeli military says many of the hostages have died in captivity. And here in Nashville, a big economic announcement. Multinational technology company Oracle moving its world headquarters right here to Music City. Reports say chairman and co-founder Larry Ellison made the announcement this morning during an Oracle Health Summit in Nashville. Oracle's been headquartered. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why they sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Shop Klein tools in-store and online today. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
I've never asked. He got me twice on that, by the way. He's gotten me twice, the weather guy now. I've interrupted him. I've never asked Holly or David if they had anything that at Savory Spice that would go with moon pies. But I think they do. I mean, cinnamon flavor. I mean, they have sweets. They have sugary flavors. They have cinnamon-type flavors that would go delicious with moon pies.
That cinnamon popcorn topping that you got me for Christmas.
Good stuff, huh?
Oh my God, that is just. I don't need popcorn. I just pour a little in my hand.
Oh yeah, it's a sweet to go against the savory of the popcorn. Popcorn sprinkle is a big seller at Savory Spice. They've got a lot of big sellers over there. Of course, they've got their salt selection, international salts. Believe it or not, there are international salts that taste different than some of the stuff that we get here. They've got something for every flavor, every international taste, anything that you can possibly dream up in the kitchen. They can flavor through Savory Spice. And I invite you to go and see the locations available to you. One is at L&L Market, beautiful facility, L&L Market on Charlotte Pike. And the other, the original, over in Franklin next to Gray's Pharmacy. Stop by, see Holly David, stock up, and gift give through Savory Spice. Great gift-giving opportunities. Plus, they're starting grilling season at Savory Spice. It's the time to get everything you need for the grill all stocked up, and you can do so at Savory Spice. Savory Spice, 2 locations. Stop by, see them today. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice.
We must do something about this immediately! Immediately! Harumph, 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 harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that.
Confused about your retirement? Is there more you could do to retire with confidence and ensure your family's taken care of? Hi, it's Johnny B, and if you have questions, tune in to Beacon Retirement Strategies with Pete Benson and John Maxon. Saturdays at 7 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. Learn how to invest your money, prepare for retirement, and solidify your future. Get straightforward and objective advice that can help you make the most out of every dollar you've saved for retirement. Beacon Retirement Strategies with Pete Benson and John Maxon. Saturdays at 7 a.m., Sundays at 9 a.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I don't know what that is.
Hey, folks, Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. Mark the date down, Saturday, June 1st. It starts at 10 a.m., the 4th annual open house at the Glock Store. Giveaways galore at the Glock Store. I'll be there. Dan Mandis will be there. Chris Hand will be there. That's reason enough for you to stop by. But they have Glocks like you would not believe, and obviously accessories, parts, different types of customization available for you at the Glock Store, and you can tour the Shoot 270 rooms. We like to say that life doesn't happen in lanes, it happens in rooms, and it happens out of doors as well. And the best way to train is to train by replicating that out-of-door experience or replicating that room light experience, and you do that with shoot270.com. Go to glockstore.com or shoot270.com to find out more today, or better yet, just mark the calendar down, June 1st, and be there. Air Lane Drive off of Elm Hill Pike. Matt Murphy and you for the 4th annual open house at the Glock Store. There's a high level of anticipation in the studio of Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This will either be one of the better segments that we've ever engaged in on the show, or it might be our last day on radio. I mean, the CEO's in town. I don't know if anybody else knew that or not.
Yeah, and this is going to be the best radio ever.
Okay, so if you're not watching on Super Talk TV, I would suggest that you're doing it wrong. We've got a gaggle of folk in studio with us. Belkay's not one of them. He's behind the glass, monitoring the proceedings, and he has the buckets ready if necessary.
In case it all hits the fan.
In case the MoonPie hits the fan.
He's the designated survivor.
This morning, Dan was walking around with a little thing of apple juice, and I just looked at him and said, "Why are you holding a urine sample?" And he goes, "Well, Mary heard the show this morning, and I had to take a drug test."
That tracks.
That's fair.
That makes sense. Chris Webber is here of The Drive with Brian Wilson. Hello, Mr. Webber.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Mac Morey is also here. He is our afternoon news anchor extraordinaire. He also produces the Chris Hand Show and disappears during hours. Hello.
Hey, but I'm here for this,
I mean,
man. I'm
you're
here for the important moments.
And you have, Weber, you've had moon pies.
Absolutely, yeah.
Smith, I don't need to ask you.
I look like a moon pie. Let's be honest. Mascot.
I've had plenty of moon pies, and I look like one as well. The skinniest guy in the room has never had a moon. You've never had a moon pie?
Never had a moon pie. So this is exciting. So we're just going. We're all
just going to go in. So there are 8 flavors.
Ooh, nice.
RC Cola. There's a pop of an RC Cola there. And so what we're going to do is we got the mini version of the moon pies because I felt like the regular version would be too much. It's the original marshmallow sandwich made in Chattanooga, Tennessee since 1917.
Chattanooga Bakery.
How much bigger are the these are the minis?
They're 4 inches. So about the size of a size of a
You're impressed by 4 inches?
A cup on a golf.
About the size of a moon pie.
Yeah, about the size of a moon pie.
Mac's getting a little wild over here. You can't take him anywhere. He was just impressed by 4 inches. So that's of moon pie. Get your minds out of the gutter. This is family radio.
I was thinking a golf cup is 4 inches wide. I think that's right.
That seems about right.
I'm trying to get us back on track here. All right, everybody go. All right, we're trying the chocolate moon pie first. The delicious original chocolate moon pie. The only moon pie available until, I think, 1970, you said? So it's,
Really? Wow. Yeah, it's a moon pie.
Okay. So
this is awesome.
Graham cracker, chocolate, not too much chocolate. You're not a chocolate guy.
I don't like chocolate, but I love this.
Mm-hmm. I just realized that 4 guys chewing on the radio is probably not.
No.
Maybe there should be one of us that's not. But
we need to have a spokesperson while the others are chewing.
Right, while the others are chewing.
But I think the one thing for me is
the original.
The RC Cola combo with the moon pie. You know, first of all, if you're the South, it's not RC Cola, it's ROC Cola. That's how you say it. And it's actually really, really good.
It's a good combo.
Yeah. I have not, it's been years since I've had this specific combo.
Thanks to E for the RC, by the way.
Yeah. Erica, thank you.
Solid. All right, I'm gonna move to banana next. Now, this might be tricky for you men, because banana is not to be confused with lemon. The lemon is a little more yellow than the banana.
Okay.
So we're doing banana. So
we're doing banana. Banana was
lemon.
That's lemon. That's right.
Lemon, okay.
Yeah. So we're doing the banana. Banana next. All of you at home, grab your banana.
Oh yeah, that's banana.
Okay, somebody's got it.
Oh yeah, just sniff it. It's banana. You'll know.
Oh, wow. That is very banana.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and
This is one of my favorites. I prefer the banana.
Okay. I'm the designated talker while y'all are chewing. Nobody's vomited.
Mm-hmm.
It smells very strong of banana.
Big fan of the banana.
I'm going to take a little bite.
Banana above chocolate, no question. Not for you? You like the chocolate?
I don't like chocolate, but I think I like the chocolate moon pie. Really? Better than the banana moon pie. And I'm banana for my sweets. I love banana flavors.
I'll say this, and I don't remember this from the last time I had a chocolate moon pie, but the chocolate doesn't overwhelm the graham in the crust of the cookie.
Yeah, the consistency is almost a little bit different from chocolate to banana.
But I'm going to go banana.
As we said before, and we were in one of the breaks, this is basically health food now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's all organic.
It's not super sweet. Like for a dessert type thing, not super sweet.
And by the way, guys, if you don't eat your entire mini moon pie, go ahead and save those because we're going to give those away to a homeless shelter at some point. I think that's the right thing to do.
It's good to donate to charity.
Don't you think?
I agree. It's, sympathy.
I mean,
we should just walk through the halls of Cumulus and just
or you can just take them home.
I'm going to
because
traipse.
They don't rot. I mean, they're never going to go bad. They're made stale.
Why don't you shut your filthy mouth, Mr. I'm not participating in this segment?
The Super Talk text line, I wonder how many people are doing this with us right now.
That's exactly right.
So we're doing strawberry.
I'm going to go strawberry next.
We need to do it together.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Although doing it together is a kind of
this rustling of wrappers, we apologize, but that's how you know it's authentic.
Gosh, the smell every time you open it.
Oh, wow.
This is very strawberry.
I've never had this. This smells great.
Boy, I'm a big fan of strawberry. Strawberry is my go-to flavor for cakes and sweets. There's a but. There's something going on here that I don't.
It smells good, but
it smells more strawberry than it tastes.
It's like an air freshener to me. I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's not. No. It's going to be down on the list.
I was expecting this to be like strawberry cake. It's not.
It's not. It's got a kind of a phony, no offense, Moon Pie.
That aftertaste is rough, too, honestly.
Mac's mother has weighed in and says this is much better listening than the potted meat segment.
We should do
we can agree to disagree on that, Mama Maury. That's fine.
We could have a meat gels segment, like, the part of Spam.
Can we just get through all the moon pies first before we start?
I don't have headphones on. What did my mom say?
Your mom said that this was better. This is better. Your mom said you're disowned. She said this is better listening than the potted meat segment. Is what she said.
She actually asked you to cut your hair. It was very specific. She likes mine much better.
She wants to know where the grandkids are.
Chris Webber, which one you want to go to next? I think Webber should pick.
Let's go caramel.
Okay.
Salted caramel.
This is the darker.
Yeah,
yellowy.
the darker of the two. Say the word, Maury. Caramel.
Caramel.
So you're 2 syllables on it?
Yeah.
2 syllables? 2 syllables?
Caramel, but yeah.
I go 3.
I
go
know
caramel.
how.
I go caramel. Caramel.
I'm from the South, so you have to do caramel.
Caramel?
Caramel cake.
Oh, wow.
All right, so once again, give a good whiff. I mean,
it's got a nice aroma.
It does have a significant aroma. That's what she said.
I wonder if the Moon Pie people have to stop it.
What?
Mac's not old enough to hear that kind of stuff. Come on. I mean...
Okay, somebody said take a half a chocolate pie and a half of a banana and put them together. I'm going to do that before you guys do the other.
Ooh. I hadn't thought of that.
Mix it in your mouth, man. This is one of those times where I'm glad I'm not dealing with Dan Manda's throat coat because I can taste it.
It's like a party in my mouth and everyone's invited.
Banana chocolate.
That's good. That's actually pretty solid.
Well, prepare to be disappointed.
On the caramel?
So the smells are just, when you smell them before you taste them, the smell is just so good.
Yep.
And I feel like the graham cracker comes in and kind of mutes the smell a little bit.
It's just an expectation that isn't met.
The smell and the taste don't match to me.
Yeah.
Right.
That tastes like something, but I don't know what it is.
I've got bad news. We've got 4 moon pies to go.
I've liked one.
You've liked one moon pie?
You better get on with it because we're running out of time.
That's what I'm saying. We're running out of time. Let's go. Blueberry.
Just go.
Blueberry. Nothing really happens naturally in food that's actually blue. Let's go.
This is a really blueberry. Blueberry.
Once again, smells better than it tastes.
Doesn't really like there's nothing berry there. That's just blue.
You're trying to do too much to MoonPie. Just stick to the bag. I mean, I guess for those that really like it, whatever.
So far, we've got a banana and a chocolate, and we're like, okay,
lemon, go lemon. Left hand.
Lemon.
Blueberry was more air freshener to me, I guess.
Yeah. Blueberry and strawberry had the most of that.
That lemon is really lemony.
It's not good.
Which one?
Which one was it?
Was it blueberry?
The blueberry was. Yeah.
Lemon. If you like lemon, I get you could like that one. That's pretty. That's
pretty good.
Pretty lemon flavor, right? I'm not a huge lemon guy, but I get that one.
That's solid.
Yeah,
that's solid.
Good.
That's the best of the non-traditional chocolate or banana.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
okay.
far.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
We've
I
got
gotta go.
Where's the vanilla?
What's next?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
The whitest of the white.
Vanilla.
Oh, you give me a vanilla.
Once again, great radio as we
Move along.
sample.
Move along.
If the CEO of the company is listening, this was not my idea. All right.
Unless she likes the bit, then it was.
I like that one.
That's decent.
Yeah, I like vanilla. That one is actually good.
The vanilla flavor comes through.
Yeah, I get it.
Not too much. It's very, very much the vanilla counterpoint to the chocolate.
Yeah,
if
there's
you
no
like
delta
vanilla
between the scent and the taste. It's there.
Yeah.
And now that we've gotten to the end of this segment, let's go off the rails and go chocolate mint.
Chocolate mint.
Chocolate mint.
Sugar coma.
I love that. I love how you're washing each bite down with a delicious swig of RC Cola.
Got to cleanse that palate.
Got to cleanse
Warm
the
cola
palate.
at that.
I tried.
Smells minty.
Yeah. It's
That smells, boy.
that's intense. It's an intense chocolatey mint.
Oh, it's a chocolate wafer as well.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminds me of those Andes mints on your pillow at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
I could go for this. This is
So
pretty
they're
good.
doing a little chocolate. Yeah, like you said, I didn't realize the wafer would be chocolate too. So it's a chocolatey wafer. Okay.
For the uninitiated, the wafer has a different edge to it.
Okay, so are we all in agreement that the originals seem to stand apart from
Yes.
the rest?
Absolutely.
Chocolate then banana.
Just chocolate.
Just chocolate for
Yeah.
you? If I made you finish one other than the chocolate, which one would it be?
I think vanilla.
Okay. All right, I see that. Least favorite?
Blueberry.
Blueberry for me too, and then
Strawberry.
closely followed by strawberry.
I think the issue is these fruity flavors don't. The lemon did. It was fine. But the other ones.
Yeah, but lemon's a different.
It's a different animal.
It's a different animal
it
unto
works
itself.
well with baked goods. Blueberry does not.
Right.
It's the artificial. That's what it is to me. It's artificial flavoring.
And see, I just
those
happen
are
to-
hard to replicate.
Yeah, it's hard to do strawberries or strawberry flavoring, grape flavoring, blueberry flavoring doesn't taste like the actual product.
And that's what it sounds like for 4 people to get diabetes.
On Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey folks, this is Paul Winkler. What if someone started using their chainsaw in the kitchen rather than as an outdoor tool?
Jim, can you find a paring knife for these carrots?
Forget that. Let's fire up this baby.
Jim, no!
Oops. Did you know that annuities were invented almost 2,000 years ago? The idea was to be able to pay somebody back their own money and make sure the payments would last as long as they did. If they died next week, the money was gone. If they lived 200 years, that was the payer's problem. Inflation didn't exist, so watching the purchasing power of fixed payments drop wasn't an issue. Today, annuities are almost never used for what they were designed to do. Why? In my opinion, people don't like losing control of their money, and the guarantees often look better on paper than in real life. At Paul Winkler Inc., we don't do commissions and always act as a fiduciary. Set up a complimentary phone consultation by calling 615-851-1950 or go to paulwinkler.com.
Let's order out.
Sponsored by Allstate.
Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. Are you ready for 2024 storm season? Is your roof? Well, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com and we'll give you 15% off any roofing tune-ups. Those little incidentals. Call RTM Roofing 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing needs.
Put your pain in the hands of experience at the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. Hey, it's Ken Weaver. $49 gets new patients an exam, x-rays, and complete review of findings. Call 615-882-4838 today to schedule. Don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, serious talk radio for the masses, going on over the last 20 minutes or so.
Serious.
With the great MoonPie eat-off. Although there are serious matters going on. But Brian Wilson, before we get... Yes, Mr. Wilson.
First of all, the taste test is invalid because you didn't allow a cleansing of the palate between the different tastes. That's what you do in a wine tasting, any kind of tasting.
That's what the RC
you have to
Cola
cleanse
was for.
the palate, and sadly, you didn't allow that. So none of this is valid. It's not good science.
All right, well, I'm going to bring moon pies to you as soon as I see you next, which I think is pretty soon. And
you and I have a dinner date this weekend. The wives have been talking, and we're getting together. And I understand E is making a fabulous dessert, which will not contain either coconut or pecans.
That's right, Brian. So we got some background intel because E wanted to bring the dessert to this gathering.
Sure.
Right.
And Dawn said no coconuts and no nuts for Brian if he's going to, enjoy the dessert. And I immediately shot back, well, honey, I guess your coconut nut clusters are out.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll be good. We'll have a good time. And I'm certain that the drive, you'll have a good time over the next 4 hours. What's going on, Brian?
Well, I'm going to start off in the next hour after the news with sort of a recap of what happened yesterday. And there's been a new development because a lot of school districts have come out and said, we're not going to do this, which is exactly what I told you yesterday. That I didn't think that there were a great number of school districts that in our particular area that would take advantage of this law. And all of the histrionics we saw yesterday were for naught because it's not going to happen in Davidson County. It's not going to happen in Sumner County. It's not going to happen in Williamson County or some of the other counties in my estimation. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we got a whole bunch of other stuff from the swamp. It's a busy show coming up right after the news.
And the drive is on the way next, right after McMurray's newscast, and that's happening right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. For Cameron Smith, we appreciate all of you spending a part of your day with us. Have a wonderful afternoon, folks. Hug your loved ones. See you tomorrow. So long.